gentlemen, join me as we meet the hidden heroes behind Kenny Bernstein and the legendary Budweiser King racing team. His philosophy has worked. Yesterday, they not only qualified as quickest, but did it by breaking the elapsed time record for the quarter mile. To make the record books, however, they have to duplicate the run to within 1%. That is their goal this morning. This is a crew that has worked together through 2 world championships. Assistant crew chief Jeff Scarp, bottom end man Jimmy Mayo, and former accountant Charlie Nielsen are a small but efficient trio. They work closely with Dale, and he in turn is close friends with owner-driver Kenny Bernstein. This is one group that really deserves to be called the team.
There isn't a boss, I guess, when we're here. Kenny lets the decisions fall in my hands. When he's up there driving that thing, all the decisions are in his hands. And it's the same with the crew there. I mean, I'm not their boss when we're out here either. I mean, everybody does a job, and they really don't have to be told what to do. And a lot of times they have real good suggestions. It isn't as though there's one person overlooking everybody and is the big boss.
On this team, everyone has a job to do. What makes Kenny different from any other team member is that Monday through Friday, he runs a racing empire. The funny car team was the first element. Now sharing the pits with them is the newest addition, a top fuel dragster team. The stable also includes a NASCAR team and the Race Pack Computer Company. Dale Armstrong is an important part of this empire, so when Dale received an offer from another team, Kenny matched it with a multi-year contract worth millions of dollars, making Dale the highest paid crew chief in all of motorsports.
There was no doubt in my mind at any time that I wasn't going to lose Dale Armstrong if there was any way possible. He's too important to this team, number one. We've had good relationship for 5 years. We're close personal friends. I don't hold anything against Dale whatsoever for getting an opportunity like this. I think it's great from his standpoint. He deserves it, and to put himself in that position is a great honor.
The honor is well earned. Dale's not only made the car go fast, he's made it consistent. That kind of predictability is one of the keys to winning.
How you help a driver improve is become consistent and make the car go fast and win races. All of a sudden, the driver's good. But you do improve as a driver, and I have over the years because of our relationship, Dale and I, not only in business but as friends. We're very close personal friends. We would do anything for each other besides just work for each other at the same time. Dale is dedicated, lives, eats, and breathes racing every day. And even in the off-season, when people think it's time to relax, we, of course, have no relaxation around here because you're getting ready for the new year. And Dale is constantly thinking about this race car and what would it take to make it go faster.
The off-season is only 3 months. Not long to develop and test new equipment. It takes a certain kind of person to be a good shop mechanic and deal with the pressures of life on the road as well.
You can't wait to go back on the road at the end of the year. And when we come back here, you think you want to be at the shop and hanging out, but when the time comes, when it's getting closer to time to go back on the road, you really feel like you got to be there.
And in the off seasons, there's actually more work to do because you have to go through everything. You have to strip the chassis down, get it painted, get it checked, and you have to disassemble all the motors, check all that, and anything that we may come up with. You know, if Dale comes up with any new ideas, then we have to work on that too. So it's a full-time job.
One of Dale's major changes for the new season is a special aerodynamic body style. After hours of wind tunnel time, Dale adapted the basic Buick shape to this unique fiberglass funny car body. This controversial new body and everything else Dale has done in the off-season will be validated if they can back up yesterday's record-setting time. Setting records is not new to Dale Armstrong.
What I get out of winning or racing these cars or, say, setting a new record or something like that is, it's like accepting a challenge and then beating it. It isn't to get adulation from the crowd or anything like that. In fact, when I'm out there racing or on the starting line or getting ready to run, you forget the crowd's even there. I mean, it's just really a challenge, a mechanical challenge to me to make these cars, say, go quicker than what other people are able to do when I can do it.
They've done it. A new world's record, 5.482 seconds.
Good, 266 also.
To be 1,000 horses under the hood. And Autolite spark plugs to make sure those horses fly. Kenny's crew chief, Dale Armstrong, always uses Autolite because they're durable and have copper in the seal. Autolite, the only plugs with a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. When Kenny's running for a championship, he knows what plugs will get him there.
Saturday, after the first round of qualifying in which they put their low elapsed time into the record book, the Budweiser Funny Car team's pit is full of well-wishers. But for the crew, the car comes first.
You never see, or very rarely see, Kenny Bernstein's car up on the starting line and have to get shut off because of a leak or something like that. And that's really the crew. That's the guys paying attention to their job and making sure that everything that goes on that car, there's no doubt about it.
Dale has one prerequisite for anyone wanting to join the team. They must think like he and Kenny.
Somebody that really wants to drag race. He don't even have to be talented. He don't have to have experience. Just some young fellow that just really wants to do this. He don't want to do it because it's a job. He wants to do it even if you didn't pay him. I mean, where the pay is the gravy, sort of. Has absolutely no experience. I mean, I don't mean completely no experience in automotive stuff, but somebody that has no experience hardly at all in drag racing, but really wants to learn. And you can start a young fellow like that from zero and teach him your way, and there isn't a lot of old bad habits you have to break that way.
Since they were the #1 qualifier and had just set a world record, there was no need to run in the last qualifying session. With the car prepared for Sunday, the crew could relax and let the other entries fight for the remaining 15 race positions.
Show them what it looks like.
Sunday morning, and the largest crowd in the history of the sport has gathered for the NHRA Winternationals. Yesterday, Dale had thoughts on how setting a record would affect race day.
Oh, I guess it's what it's all about. I mean, there's a winning and there's setting a record again. I mean, it's just very personally satisfying to be able to do that. It's nice to be able to set it. But you really just look at what's going to happen tomorrow now and how to prevent losing tomorrow. Like, you got to worry about some guy really coming and stepping up and running hard against you, taking a chance against you, or smoking the tires and giving the race away. So you sure don't dwell on the record and think nobody can beat you, I'll tell you that.
Even with the consistency they've been able to achieve, the first round is a real nail-biter for Dale, though he doesn't show it.
You go out there in the morning for the first round on the track. It's an all-new track again. You're not really sure what it's going to be like, and you want to make sure you don't smoke the tires. So you take some clutch out of it, you take a little bit of nitro out of it, just so you don't smoke the tires. Well, on the other hand, if you were, say, the #1 or 2 qualifier, you're going to race the 9th or 10th guy in the field, and normally that's a fast car. They're close. I mean, there's not a big spread there, so you don't dare take out too much, because on the other hand, those guys thinking, well, I'm 9th or 10th, I got to step up, I got to race this car that's 1 or 2, so they take a shot at you.
Then, as John Force pulls to the line to do a burnout, he pops a blower. This means a bye run for Kenny. But Dale watches carefully. Competition or no, he learns something from every run. It's clean. 5.62 seconds, a decent time for anyone else, but not what Dale was expecting. Back in the pits, they do the basic teardown and look for possible signs of trouble.
I'm going to draw no conclusions till we look at the tape or see what happened. Just didn't have enough power. We'll get after it this time. McCullough ran 53. That's who we raced.
As the crew worked, the onboard computer spews out data, but in this case, it doesn't point to any source of trouble. The race pack computer is one of Dale's many innovations. He got the idea while working on the dyno 6 years ago.
It was about back then that my mind started working. Boy, we've got to put some kind of recording devices on these cars so that we know what happens rather than just 3 or 4 guys standing on the starting line telling you things that it smoked the tires or it didn't smoke the tires or it bogged the motor. And so
when we first did it, I told Dale, I said, I don't know if I want to sell the computers to anybody. I mean, that's giving away our secrets and our whole idea of making this thing happen. This is where Dale is so good for me in a lot of cases. I think of the business side of it, and Dale comes in and he thinks, yes, Kenny, but if we don't sell them to somebody, somebody else is going to make them and sell them, and we might as well take advantage of it. And he was exactly right.
Dale and Kenny are now partners in a company that markets racepack computers for use in almost every form of motorsport. The team's big budget allows Dale the luxury of developing his ideas into reality. He loves to tinker with anything automotive and keeps his toys in the shop.
I'm not one to sit in an office and just think it all. I'm a hands-on type engineer. I'm not one to sit down and draw something out and then make it. I'm more the type of the guy that gets a piece of material and turns on the lathe and builds it by trial and error.
He's been in racing so long that he has so many stories to tell about how he first got started in racing, his first race cars, experience he had at first, you know, before there was really any sponsors or money involved in the sport.
Dale puts on that he's a pretty quiet kind of a guy, but really when he lets his hair down, he gets pretty good.
When they get the engine apart, Jimmy discovers trouble. A main bearing is burned. That means a damaged crankshaft, one of the few things that require an engine to be replaced.
We don't usually have complete motors in the trailer because we like to run the same heads and blower and so forth. So we build complete short blocks with a pan and so forth on them and use those for spares. But when we do run into a problem like that, it's a lot more work than just having a spare motor sitting there. But the reason we do it that way is because we have a much better chance of the engine repeating again.
There's not much time left before the next round, so some of the dragster team lend a hand. But Dale relies mostly on the way he's trained his own crew.
Just about everybody on the team knows how to do everything. It isn't as though one guy can get his job done and has to stop because he doesn't know how to do anything else. Once he's done with his, he pitches in and does something else with the other guys. They're well trained in doing the whole job if it's an emergency condition where we really got to speed it up. Tell me when, Charlie. Huh? 160? Half-inch wrench again. You got one, Lanny, or? You had to take them all up.
The new engine is started up for the first time only minutes before they must run. With a new engine, even a short block using many of the same components, it's asking a lot to expect to repeat their past runs. And in the second round, the competition gets tougher. Ed, the ace, McCulloch. Ace can't get traction. Bernstein makes a great run, 5.54 seconds, over 265 miles per hour. After winning the second round, Kenny Bernstein's funny car team seems to move faster than ever. Many crews won't allow themselves to feel good until the very end, simply because in drag racing's elimination-style competition, the next round could be their last. But Dale and the Bud crew think differently.
The farther they go in the rounds, the more they get pumped up. I guess it's like a gung-ho football type attitude. They really get into it. It's sometimes there's some whistling and cheering, and it's really not fooling around. Them guys are really concentrating and doing their jobs, but they're pumped up and they really get into it. Actually, there are 3 different types of guys, and they all work real well together and get along real well. Jeff, he's real meticulous. He wants everything just perfect. He'll go over and over things, and everything has to fall into order. Things can't get ahead of themselves, or else he starts backing it up and making sure everything's right. Whereas Jim, he goes at it more like a raging bull, charging through everything and getting things done. And then Charlie, he's just a buffer between the two. He just sort of goes along as the pace is going along, but consequently all 3 of them really work well that way together.
Jeff Scarp is Dale's assistant crew chief. He grew up in Dayton, Ohio, got a degree in electronics, and then 5 years ago started with Kenny and Dale by washing parts. He likes the high-tech challenges this team provides.
Working with Dale's new innovations, something that's a little bit different, out of the ordinary, that nobody else has, and then making it work. You know, usually something new doesn't work right off the bat, so you have to really work with it to get it to work. My background in electronics will help quite a bit, because in the future I see computers as playing a major part in the operation of this car.
It was Jeff who told his friend Charlie Nielsen about an opening on the team 3 years ago. Charlie was an accountant. Not a bad background when you're joining entrepreneurs like Dale and Kenny. But for Charlie, racing is a dream he's had since his father introduced him to the sport.
When I became 8 years old, he took me to my first drag race. And ever since then, I've been going. Even when I was as young as 12 years old, they would drop me off at the track on Sunday at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and they wouldn't see me again until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. They'd come back and pick me up.
Jimmy Mayle is the newest member of the crew, starting his second season.
Well, I was hired as a bottom end guy, they call it. I'd take the oil pan down during the race and take care of all the bearings and crankshaft and rods and stuff like that, and do a lot of fabricating. And I really like to fabricate and weld. I like to make things that work out for other people. You know, like they need things that are efficient. That's our biggest thing in this deal, is efficiency, to get it so you can work within an hour and a half at the track.
In the lanes, Dale has time to talk to friends and suppliers, but he's not relaxed. This will be the semifinal round, and they'll meet Dale Paldy, who has been running very well.
Them last 4 cars are high-caliber race cars and crude, and that's when the intimidation stops. I mean, you're not going to fool anybody once you're into the semifinals. I mean, it's normally who's going to win then is the car that the driver's doing his best that day and the most powerful car that day. There's not many other tricks once you get into the semifinals. The deal about being the world champion and having to repeat in any kind of sport, I guess, is it's tough to repeat. But and people have mentioned this too. Man, it's hard to stay at the top and it must be tough and so forth. Well, I'll tell you, it's a lot better being at the top and trying to stay there than being at the bottom and still fighting your way up. So I'll take that any time over this. I'd rather have the pressure and try to stay there.
Paldy leads at the start, but Bernstein pulls ahead at the finish line, and a Budweiser King funny car will go to the final round. Who finishes rebuilding the engine for the last round, their anticipation builds. Their car must soon do side-by-side battle with the last and strongest challenger. As they work quickly and accurately, each man can't help but recall all the struggles of the weekend that have brought them this far and wonder what the final outcome will be. For the final round, Dale and Kenny face a major threat and an unknown quantity. Graham Cowan, the Australian funny car champion. As a team with lane choice, Dale reviews starting line procedures as a courtesy to the Aussie crew chief.
You better wait until he gets to the water. Okay. I mean, so we don't screw you up, you know. All right. Otherwise, I think you'll be ahead of us.
The two competitors are genuinely friendly and equally determined to win. Dale and Kenny plan to ignore the other team and run their own race, trying to match the standard they've already set for themselves. But the fun-loving Aussies revive the spirit of America's Cup. They're determined to make this a contest of national pride, and Bernstein's team is ready to accept the challenge. right off the line. The Aussies are in trouble. And Bernstein goes on to win.
Oh, man, when you see that win light come on in the final round and you're at a national event, it's, boy, you're just ecstatic. I mean, the whole crew goes crazy, and, you know, you're jumping up and down, hopping the van, get down there, see Kenny, you know, you've won. I mean, that's part of that, being out there for 4 days, going at it 100% as much as you can, and all of a sudden, it's a big accomplishment. You've done it.
No victory is sweeter than the one that's been most elusive, as the Winternationals has been for this team. It's also a great start on a new season that holds the promise of yet another world championship. For the hidden heroes of Kenny Bernstein's Budweiser King Funny Car, I'm Dave Bowman.